everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand build-up show for Manchester United in the FA Cup versus Wigan. We are away, we are at Wigan right now. The team is in Wigan and it is our FA Cup game. Realistically, the only competition left that Manchester United have a chance to go all the way in. I mean, Erik said we're fighting for two trophies, the FA Cup and the Premier League, but if we're going to be honest, has anybody gone on and won the Premier League with the amount of losses we've had? Absolutely not. So if we're going to be realistic, the only hope that we have at a trophy this season is the FA Cup. So it's super, super important, especially off the back of a really poor run. But welcome everybody to the chat. Joining me today for the build-up show is Sam. Sam, say hello to everyone.
Hello everyone, hello. Excited, interested to see what team Ten Hag puts out. Hopefully we'll have it soon and yeah, it's going to be a good one.
We will have the team soon, so make sure you stay tuned for that because the first place to get some of the team will be here, hopefully. Faz as well, over there in the little seat.
I don't like that intro. This is a new year, you can do a better intro for me. Faz just in the corner.
Faz, you are amazing in 2024. The world is your oyster. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. You know what, I was just thinking, right? It feels a little bit like I'm Rashford and Sam is Garnacho. And he's just, you know, he's benched me.
Oh, yeah.
And I've now been pushed on the side. And Sam's now there. But it's nice to see Sam on the build-up show.
Need to get back in form, Faz.
I know, I need to get back in form. I do. I'll tell you what, I'll be honest. I'm kind of excited for today. I am. It's a cup game, you know, FA Cup, massive trophy for Manchester United if we can go far. What a way it would be for Erik to prove the doubters like myself wrong if you could go, you know, up to the finals maybe in the FA Cup like last season. So it'd be really good. I'm excited.
The interesting thing is as well, the draw for the fourth round will actually be done at, is it 7:50?
Yeah, 10 to 8.
10 to 8, so we kick off at 8:15. So the draw, Mark will be doing the watch along at that point, you'll be able to see who we get. So Man United will probably know, well, they will know who they have before we go into it, and it'll be really interesting to see what sort of opposition we face in the next round. You know, Liverpool is an option, there's obviously some other teams in there, so it'll be really interesting to see that as well. So I'm excited to see who we could potentially draw against. But let's get down to business, everyone. Welcome to the chat and get your comments in, please. Sam, first of all, how important is it? I mean, the fact that there's even a realm of possibility that some Man United fans think we could not win this game today, but how important is it for Erik ten Hag to get to the next round of this competition?
I think it's kind of a no-brainer. He has to get through the next round. He has to get through this game. If he loses this game, the media are already on his back. Some people are already on his back. If he loses this game, then I don't really see where do you go from losing to Wigan in the FA Cup? Like, I don't really see how that's going to happen, but it's not going to happen. We're going to win, but I think it's a no-brainer. Ten Hag, you have to win this game. It's not if we lose, it's okay. It's not.
Well, we had a little bit of a conversation on the way to Tesco earlier about. I said, "There's no way we lose." I mean, I hope not. And you were like, no, I don't think we will. But if we did, like, I don't get where he can go from there. Yeah. And I do understand that, but I actually still think he would stay in a job just because of the situation with Ineos now and the transition, like you were saying. Yeah,
we were saying earlier when we was walking to Tesco that, you know, we think that maybe this month, these 6 to 8 weeks of Ineos coming in could potentially keep Ten Hag in a job. But for me, I'm still Ten Hag in. But if you lose Wigan, I don't see how the players react to that. I think it'll be interesting. Are the players still going to publicly back the manager if you then go out and lose to Wigan, or what's going to happen? Because the media will be on his back if you lose to Wigan, and then if he stays in his job and loses to Tottenham, then I think there's no way back from a media and like fan perspective.
You know, I understand it. Like, there's just no possibility that we don't win this game, even draw it. Like, we have to win, and not only do we have to win, Faz, we have to put quite a few goals past him, surely.
Well, you're asking for something that Erik ten Hag and the team can't deliver. It's goals. Funny enough as well, right, you mentioned that. The last time we lost to Wigan was 1-0 in 2012.
Statman Faz, he's back.
And Johnny Evans was on the pitch, believe it or not.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Ryan.
Yeah, Johnny Evans. What goes around comes around. History repeating itself. I don't want to see a performance or anything as such, because the team is not going to do it. People are now saying Manchester United need a striker, Manchester United need this, that, the other. You know what we need? We just need the manager to coach the players a bit better. You know, make the team pass the ball a bit better, get the ball to the strikers a bit better. It's the simplest thing. I like to call it the brilliant basics. We don't do the brilliant basics well enough. Manchester United is a team where Rasmus Højlund is not getting service in the Premier League. He's the least passed to striker. Same with Martial. He's not being passed to enough. Wingers are not creating enough. You know, obviously we've got injury issues, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, it's Wigan. I'm not going to disrespect them. We should be able to compare to level for level. We should be able to obliterate them. But hey, Manchester United, I remember, last season, if I'm not mistaken, behind closed doors, they played Halifax. And I remember on one of they played 2 games, and one of the games Manchester United lost. So, you know, these lower league teams, people can write them off, but I certainly don't. Not especially when it comes to the FA Cup. We know the beauty of the FA Cup. Well,
the FA Cup is beautiful in the sense where we've had some massive upsets in the past, and Wigan actually won the FA Cup in, was it 2012? I think it was 2012. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'm just going to actually look that up. Oh, 2013. 2013 they were FA Cup winners, and that was absolutely huge for them. They are in League 2, which Man United should be beating them. But
2 or 1?
Pardon?
They're in League 1. Are they in League 1?
I think they're in League. Let me have a look.
I thought they were League 1.
They might be League 1 then. Yeah, they're in Football League 1. They're in League 1, but they had a big points deduction at the start of this season. Mm-hmm. They had a big points deduction at the start of the season, so the place that they are in League 1 actually doesn't really represent the games that they've won this season. Still, no matter what, we should be beating any team in League 1. Like, they're not even a championship side. Yeah. We should be beating them. But it's one of them where because of past results and because of how inconsistent this team has been, like, question marks do start to creep in. I mean, we've not got the starting 11 in yet, Sam. But we
will have at 7 o'clock some starting players. So in around 5 minutes' time, we will bring you a few starting players looking at the front 3.
Yeah, like, for example, Alex just said in the chat there, they're near the bottom because of the points deduction. Like I just said, they had a points deduction. That doesn't actually represent where they would be. They would be much higher up the league right now if they didn't have that points reduction. So if you look at Wigan, there is no excuse. You have to be beating them. But Sam, what are some of the names that you personally would like to see Erik ten Hag put out in the starting lineup tonight? And everyone in the chat as well, do you think Erik ten Hag will go strong? How do you think he approaches it?
Yeah, so I think Ten Hag will go strong. I think he could give Cam Boala a chance at centre-back, possibly next to Evans if he doesn't want to play Varane, even though, you know, we've had the week off and then we have another week before Spurs. But I think he could play Cam Boala and Evans, but this isn't league team news, by the way. This is just prediction. And I think he could keep Mainoo in midfield, possibly bring Eriksen in. Now, the question for me is, what do you do with the front 3? Do you play Pellistri and Ahmad with Højlund and Garnacho, or do you play, you know, Rashford, Højlund, Antony? I think that will probably determine how Ten Hag sees this game. Is he going to start Antony? Is he going to start Rashford and Højlund, or, you know, will he play Ahmad? Will he play Pellistri? I hope he plays Ahmad on the right, Garnacho on the left, and Højlund up front, because this could be a big game for Højlund. You know, if he gets on the score sheet, maybe 2 or 3 for him. But yeah, we'll touch on that when we do players to watch.
Yeah, confidence is super important. I mean, I was saying, obviously Man United have to win this game. There was literally no excuses, and I actually want to see us score a few goals as well, because Man United fans have been starved of goals. We've got to take them where we can this season. It's unfortunate. This is a sort of game where you're really kind of wanting to see that. And we've not had it more throughout the season, but personally for me, when I'm looking at the lineup, I expect Erik ten Hag to go absolute full strength, and purely because obviously we've not played in nearly a week or over a week.
Yeah,
we've not played in over a week. We don't have Spurs until Sunday. It's not as if you've got games midweek anymore. We're out of Europe. You know, we're going to have some breaks here and there. Why would you be resting players realistically right now?
Yeah, I agree.
You've got to keep players fresh, and this competition, no matter who the opposition is, we have to get through this round, and we have to give everything to the FA Cup. It's our only chance at a trophy. Don't want any disrespect towards Wigan in any way. And of course, it'd be lovely for us to say, oh, but I'd really like to see this player tonight. I'd really like to see that player, because we've not seen much of them. We can't afford to take any risks with this team. I would love to see Ahmad play, because I thought he did so well in his cameo last game. I thought he looked really good. Erik ten Hag said that himself. I have a feeling, though, it's going to be the front three from Aston Villa, where it was Højlund up front, Garnacho on the right and Rashford on the left. I feel like Erik ten Hag might want to try that again if Højlund's back fit, because I had a feeling that was going to be the lineup in the previous game that we played. But obviously the Forest game, but Højlund got ill last minute. Yeah. So I think he really liked that front three, Erik ten Hag, and I won't be surprised if Højlund's back. You see that again today. Hopefully see Mainoo. Like you said, Camboire would be a good one to put in today, but it'll be interesting to see. Get in the chats what you guys would like to see as well.
Obviously, we think it probably will be Onana because, he's not in Africa. He hasn't gone to AFCON yet, and Ten Hag obviously really wants to keep him in. But do you think there's any chance whatsoever that Onana doesn't play today and that it's Bayern?
No, I think Onana does play. I'm not saying that Onana should play. I think Bayern, it'd be good to see him in this game. But like I said, you would hope Bayern would be good enough and comfortable enough to come into a game like this. You would hope that. I've not seen much of him, but I hope he would be. But it's still a risk. Like, the FA Cup is the only competition where you have to play a trophy. Yeah. If Bayern made a mistake and he cost us, like, what would that do to his confidence? He's not played a game yet. But Onana's done that previously as well, and he's had to deal with it. So I just don't see why you would keep Onana from going to AFCON if you were just going to put him on the bench. So I think Onana will play. I think Bayern should be more than capable of playing in this game, though, and he's not even played a minute for us yet.
Yeah.
Faz, what are your thoughts on who you would like to see come into the team today? What would you like to see?
I think it's without a shadow of a doubt, Altay Bayındır has to be playing today. If Erik ten Hag isn't starting Altay Bayındır, then we've gone past the point where we're going to be asking questions now. It's just blatant. I'll be honest, it's blatant disrespect to the goalkeeper. He can come out in public and say all of these things about we have two keepers and we're happy with both keepers and etc. But I'll be deadly honest, if I was Altay Bayındır and I'm not playing today's game against Wigan, I'd be absolutely fuming. Absolutely fuming. And the fans want to see Altay, and we want to see what our second goalkeeper can do. Which other games are we going to do it? We're at the Champions League, we're at the Carabao Cup. We've only got the FA Cup to try and test out some players, and Altay has to play. Is Martial available for today's squad?
They didn't really ask him.
No, they don't.
They didn't ask Ten Hag, but every time they asked Ten Hag, he say Martial's ill. So, do you think that Martial isn't playing because he's trying to move away and he doesn't?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think Martial's ill.
It has to be.
Well, do you remember when Ricky was on the build-up and I tried telling him that, but he wouldn't have any of it. He wouldn't have it, but it's happened before, hasn't it? But it's interesting with Martial. I mean, what do you think, Faz, actually, a little bit? What do you think, just a quick divergence, what do you think about Martial and Varane leaving in Jan?
I think it's shocking.
I don't think Varane will leave, but what do you think about us?
Yeah, it's shocking and it's diabolical. I don't think either of those players should be leaving in January. Clubs don't let their best players go in January, or players that are important to their squad in January, and we're doing that, and it's an awful mistake. Rafa Varane cannot leave Manchester United, end of discussion. He just can't. Why have we bought him for a couple of seasons for the money that we bought him, the wage that he's on? Same with Casemiro. We just bought him a season ago and now people are talking about selling him. A good manager is able to manage these sorts of players. Klopp obviously had a bad time with his midfield, but he still managed European football with his team, And he nearly ended up in top four when he pressed us last season. So, yeah, we shouldn't be moving Martial and Varane in January. Summer, 100% move Martial on, but not January.
Okay.
Yes, so it's time for your leaked team news. This is early team news. Official team news will come in 15 minutes. But from my understanding, this is the front three for Manchester United. We'll start off with who it doesn't contain. No Amad Diallo and no Antony. So you have a front three of Rashford, Højlund and Garnacho, yes. Rashford, Højlund, Garnacho. I don't know what you guys think. I would have really liked to see Amad play today, but the front three is Garnacho, Højlund and Rashford.
Garnacho, Højlund and Rashford, everyone. That is your front three for today's game. I honestly didn't know before and I predicted it right.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty buzzing with that. I mean, Faz, that was probably the best performance we've seen from a front three over the course of the season when them three played together against Villa. Do you think it's because of the positions and the personnel and everyone was in the right position, or do you think we more had players that it played to their advantage with Villa's high line?
Well, one thing for sure is Amad Diallo's probably going to have a lot to prove. So whenever he's going to come on the pitch, he's going to try and have more impact. But the funniest thing of it all is how come Garnacho is performing, well on the left and right, but Erik ten Hag isn't able to get similar sort of output out of Anthony? This just is baffling. An 18-year-old, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's 18, 19. An 18, 19-year-old is literally, doing the most in our front line. Rashford isn't, Anthony isn't, and the only other player that we can rely on is Ahmad. Sancho hasn't got his act together, so yeah, and the manager doesn't believe in Pelestri. It's just a shame. It would have been really positive for us because, for example, today Anthony's not starting, but if Anthony had a bit more output in him, a bit more effectiveness in him, then it would have been a good addition in the bench. Anthony being in the bench actually doesn't add anything. You take a player off from the front three and put Anthony on, with all due respect, because you know how much I used to, be in love with Anthony and like him, but he doesn't add anything. It's not he's going to create a threat. It's more so, Pelestri or Ahmad coming on that's going to add more threat. So, yeah.
I mean, I agree with you in the sense of the fact that Ahmad, for me, is much more of a threat than Anthony at the moment, and it's not what you'd expect for the price tag. But is it fair to blame Ten Hag for Anthony not being informed because it was his signing? But Ten Hag's not in that frame of mind now where he's just consistently picking him. Like, he has basically dropped him because Garnacho and Rashford are starting over him. Ahmad came on and did really well. Like, is it worrying times for Anthony a little bit?
Yeah, 100%. And I'll tell you why. If you're a manager and you've ranked Joel Glazer and said to him, can you please sign off on Anthony? Because we read that Athletic article, right? That's what happened. He went over Merton and Arnold's head and he went to Joel and said, sign off on this player. Player got signed off. Now you've got an academy player coming in and showing you up. What does that tell the club about the money that they spent on this player? You then had issues with Jadon Sancho, who's also got issues with you and the club and whatever. That's another 80 million sat on, not even on the bench. You've got Pelestri, is another player who does a bit more. You've got Ahmad, who's another player who does a bit more. You've got all of these players who do more, bar Sancho. You've got all of those players that do more, that cost pennies compared to what we paid for Anthony. So why did you make us pay for Anthony then, if you can't get anything out of him? And the important thing to understand is, just dropping a player isn't the solution. I kept saying this. You drop a player, you bring him back, but during that period when the player wasn't playing and he's on the bench, what has he learned? What is he going and polishing? Can anyone tell me that Anthony's gone when he's on the bench, he's come back and he's added this to his arsenal? He's done this better. He's learned this from the league. Anthony and Erik ten Hag need to sit down with some popcorn and study Salah, Ziyech, Mahrez, all of these other players who've played in the Premier League.
No, I completely understand where you're coming from. I think, obviously, there was an article that came out that talked about how much Ten Hag kind of underestimated the type of players that he needed to play in the Premier League. So with Anthony, that it could have been a mistake. And it's like, sometimes you can forgive mistakes, but you've also got to make really good calls as well. And it'll be something that Erik ten Hag will be judged on at his time at Manchester United. But at the same time, when you look at Anthony, if the board at Manchester United would have done business properly, we would have ended up paying 40-50 million for him. Still too much for what he's been able to offer for us, but it would have not been as poor as the 80-90 million mark. But it's interesting. I mean, Garnacho, this is an interesting one for you, Sam, and I don't want to spend all our time on Anthony, but when he is one of Erik ten Hag's big signings and he's not regularly in the team, you are going to talk about it. But you've got the front three of Højlund, Garnacho and Rashford. Say if Garnacho or Rashford get subbed, you expect Ahmad to come on then, don't you? And it's like, where does he come in?
Yeah, I'd expect Ahmad to come in if one of those two were to get subbed. I think the thing with Anthony is, I'll ask this question to both of you, would we be having this same conversation about Anthony if the price tag was 25 million?
Well, no, but it wasn't, and it never was 25 mil, and that's the issue.
There is no... Listen, if Anthony Elanga went for 15 million to Nottingham Forest and is putting up those sorts of performances, then what are you telling me, that Anthony... Is Anthony even Nottingham Forest level? Can you tell me that you have seen performances on a run of games from
Anthony's Nottingham Forest level.
I think Anthony's in a really bad spell of form, and he's got potential.
But compared, over the course of what we've seen from him in the Premier League, you are seeing Premier League wingers do a lot more. Look at the wingers in Wolves.
That's true. Look at Elise at Crystal Palace.
Please look at the mid-table, bottom-table wingers and tell me if Anthony can go toe-to-toe with them. Just because, and by the way, I absolutely head over heels fell in love with Anthony because I wanted the Brazilian flavour. And what am I getting? And the funniest thing is, we kept saying that Anthony needs a fullback. Anthony needs a striker. Well, he's got 2 fullbacks that we always fight over, Bissaka and Dalot. And he's got Rasmus Højlund now, but still the front line isn't functioning.
I don't think there's any excuses that you can make. We've got some super chats in. Danny says, could you 3 please give your genuine opinion on the sheer importance of Mainoo? Love all you guys and gals in the United stand. Thank you so much, Danny. We'll definitely talk about that in a second. Riken Nyberg, member for 19 months. What makes you think it's the manager's fault that we're selling Varane and Casemiro? It's clearly an Ineos directive. I want to talk about that in a second as well.
I agree with that Ineos directive.
Sashin Mercy says, would you guys consider winning the FA Cup and finish top 6 would keep Erik ten Hag for another season? I think it would, yeah. James Burney, welcome to United Stand Members Club. Just because, obviously, everyone will say standards on the floor, standards on the floor. Standards are on the floor, but I think just because of the situation we're in, winning a trophy this season seems unfathomable to me right now. So if we did end up winning the FA Cup, you know, and depend on the way Ineos and Sir Jim want to go with it in the summer, I think it'd definitely secure him a little bit of breathing room.
We definitely would, yeah. FA Cup is a fantastic trophy to win. Fantastic trophy to win.
It's crazy that, you know, we sat Van Gaal the day after we won the FA Cup.
Well,
and it shows like that would never happen.
Yeah, yeah. Because well, it's Murto and Arnold, isn't it? They won't get rid of Erik ten Hag because it's their guy.
Arnold's gone.
Arnold's gone.
Well, now he's gone, but we'll see what happens if they get rid of him in summer.
One thing I did want to speak on, we'll speak about Mainoo, and obviously this isn't much really to do with the team tonight. I don't know if Varane's going to start or not, and Casemiro's obviously not going to start because he's not quite back from injury yet. He's training with the team, but regarding Casemiro, and I know this might be an unpopular opinion because I know Mark's very much against it and he's been talking about it being cost-cutting. It is cost-cutting, but I don't think it's the type of cost-cutting that's like feeding the Glazers the way that people are making out. If you look at Casemiro, as much as I love the player, and I love the player, I think he's brilliant, but paying that much for him and putting him on that contract financially was a mistake in my opinion. Like when you look realistically for the future, I love him and I love everything he gives for us, but he's on over 300 grand a week. Okay, he's on over 300 grand a week. He's not getting any younger, and people say, so's Rashford, so this person. I understand that. I completely understand it. But from a financial point of view, when you're looking at financial fair play and investing for the future, if you could move Casemiro on for a fee, invest that money into the next prime, deep-lying midfielder, that would make sense, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you on that. I wouldn't be fully against doing that, but I do think it is what Ineos are trying to do. Ineos are trying to cut the cost of the wages, and, you know, they are telling players, like, we'll keep you at the club, but we'll keep you on a reduced contract. We've seen it with Varane. We're seeing it with Wan-Bissaka now. It is probably, in my opinion, an Ineos initiative that they do want to, you know, they do want to cut the wages of some of the players in the club. But I would be with you if Sir Jim was to turn around and say we're getting rid of Casemiro so we can bring the next Casemiro in. I'd be with you on that. I wouldn't disagree with that opinion at all.
It's just whether you can trust Man United, and under the new regime we don't know yet because we've not seen it kick off. It's whether you can trust Manchester United to invest that money properly on the actual. Because if we got rid of Casemiro and then you had nobody else come in, that could kind of live up to that standard, and you had nobody for the future, then it would be the wrong decision. You'd want to keep Casemiro, but if you can move him on and get the next prime deep line midfielder in that area in, then that would be the right decision. It's just whether Man United can scout and buy that, and I just don't trust him to be able to do so. Sam?
Just completely unrelated, there is some breaking news coming in from the MEN. Anthony is absent from the squad.
Okay.
Anthony is not on the squad at all tonight. We knew he wasn't in the 11, but the MEN are saying he won't be there at all, not even an option to come on from the bench.
Anthony out of the squad. I mean, Faz, it has to be injury or illness, surely?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be just a illness or maybe a knock, something like that. I'm sure.
Try and find out, yeah.
Erik ten Hag will answer that. But on a side note, I wanted to say rest in peace to Franz Beckenbauer, who's obviously a legend of the game, numerous Ballon d'Or winner, numerous Champions League winner, World Cup winner. But yeah, he'll be deeply missed, so rest in peace, Franz.
What a player. What a player. Yeah. I second you on that as well, and I'm sure everybody in the community sends their condolences, and a brilliant player of the game for sure. I mean, talking about the rest of the team, maybe we just had a super chat in there, and if you guys want to push any topics, make sure you do that. But talking about Mainoo, we got asked what our opinion is of his importance. mean, Sam, why don't you begin on your thoughts on Mainoo and if you think he'll play tonight and how important he is?
Yeah, so I think he'll play tonight, and I think the thing with Manchester United that we've seen is that we really value the youth, and that youth from the academy, from the under-18s to the 21s, then to the first team, and also, you know, the under-23s as well. I think that we really do value having those academy players in, and I think so far what Mainoo, he made one slight mistake, but I think so far what I've seen from Mainoo, I've been really impressed, and I would be extremely surprised if he doesn't start tonight, but we will find out in around 2 minutes' time. So that's my thoughts on Mainoo. He has to start for me. And
Faz?
About?
Mainoo? What's his importance to the team? Is he becoming an important first-team player?
Very much. Very, very much. I mean, this lad is an absolute superstar in the making, and I hate to say it like this, and I hate to put pressure on him, but he's actually the player that we now don't need to go and look in the market. You just need to be patient, keep nurturing him, and let him develop. That's all I can say. I think this is one of the reasons why Casemiro needs to stay in Manchester United, is because just think about how much he can learn of Casemiro. I know Casemiro's on huge wages and whatever, but people act like Manchester United have got the worst wage bill in the world. We actually don't. We actually don't. We have some big players with big wages for sure. Some of them may not warrant the wages that they're on, but that's another conversation in itself. But imagine how much Kobbie Mainoo could learn of Casemiro. That's what you need, the leaders in the changing room, the players with that sort of experience. Because let's be honest, if Casemiro's moved on, we need to get another player in that position who can give the similar output. And we don't even know if that's going to work, because look at how it's turned out with Sofian Amrabat. It's not really been good, has it?
I mean, I can understand your point of view of learning from the best players, which is absolutely true. But I mean, in your opinion, I do think Erik ten Hag sees Mainoo as a 6. I think that's the way he sees him. Do you see him as that player? I know.
I don't see him as a 6. No.
In the under 23s, he was, for me, more of a box to box 8, and like he can play 6, he can play 8, but I kind of see him in a double pivot next to more of a 6. Is that the way you would see him as well? But obviously Erik ten Hag, he's got his different ideas. He wants someone as a 6 who can take the ball off the back 4, and he's really comfortable on the football, which is exactly what Mainoo can do. But do you see him as that deep lying midfielder?
No, I don't. I actually don't. I see him as in a 8 more than anything. In all honesty, I don't.
He's got such good vision as well, hasn't he?
He does. I think 8 is the position where he'll flourish in, but. You don't really be in a set position though in the 4-3-3, do you? You know, or even in a 4-2-3-1, in a double pivot, you'll have a player next to you that you can swap with almost. So yeah, the good thing is he can play a deep line role. He can play in a bit higher up as well. I think in my dream world, Frankie de Jong and Kobbie Mainoo is.
Oh, yeah, that would be good.
If you talk about what things turn me on...
Frankie de Jong in 2024, still.
Yeah, I mean, we fought for Sancho for 2 windows, right?
Ever. I would love Frankie, like, obviously, who wouldn't? He's an unbelievable football player, but I don't see it happening, but I can understand your point of view. A lot of people in the chat saying they'd like to see Mainoo and Casemiro together.
I'd hope like to see we that. See it. I'd love to see that.
I don't think Ten Hag's going to do it, though. I think he's going to, like, sub them for each other. You know, like the way he did with Højlund and Martial? It's like play them together. I'd love to play them together.
The 11, sorry.
You've got the 11, yeah, go for it.
So, Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Evans, Dalot, McTominay, Mainoo, Bruno, Garnacho, Rashford, Højlund. So the leaked team news was correct.
Wait, who's the second centre-back?
Varane and Evans.
Oh, okay, you didn't say Varane first.
Well, what did I say? History repeating itself.
First.
Evans playing again. And he played in 2012 when we lost.
Right, stop bringing up negativity, fast.
Should we just do it one more time?
Read the full team out again.
Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Evans, Dalot, McTominay, Mainoo, Bruno, Garnacho, Rashford, Højlund. And then the bench, Bayindir, Heaton, Palestri, Hannibal, Shola Shorty, Hugo, Cambuala, Forson and Bennett.
The whole academy is in the bench.
Yeah.
So what are the only first team players on the bench?
The only first team players on the bench are Bayindir, Heaton and Palestri.
And Palestri. Ahmad. Is Ahmad on the bench?
No.
Ahmad isn't on the bench?
Neither is...
Anthony, no Martial.
No Anthony, no Martial, no Ahmad.
Wow.
Something must.
No Casemiro, no.
There must be.
Yeah, but they're weeks away anyway.
There must be
a bug or something. We'll wait for
bug
Ten
or
Hag
knock
to confirm,
to Ahmad. That would be really unfortunate because he's just come back from injury. Maybe it's a slight bug. Maybe he's just protecting him for coming in. I don't know what it is. I mean, Faz, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the bench doesn't fill me with joy. I mean, big shout out to obviously the academy lads who've made it to the bench. Some of them will probably come onto the pitch and it'll be a nice moment for them. But shame that Ahmad is not on the bench. Same thing with Martial as well. It's a shame he's not on the bench.
Do you think we've seen the last of Martial in the United shirt?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, possibly so. Possibly so. I think that's all it comes down to. But Anthony not being here is another concern as well. I'll be deadly honest. So many first team players, who are missing. Who's Erik ten Hag gonna turn to if he needs a solution tonight? Looking at that bench, who can he turn to? I just hope those young lads can perform for him.
There's no Christian Eriksen tonight because Eriksen is injured again.
Oh
Oh
wow.
my gosh.
MEN, Eriksen is unavailable due to injury. So that's Eriksen injured again, according to the MEN.
I mean, what are your thoughts, Faz, on these injuries after injury after injury?
Something. I'll be honest. There must be something going on. There must be. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but we served raw chicken to the food hygiene standards people. I mean, that's how thick we are. If you wanna say how much of an idiot Manchester United is, that's how much of an idiot we are. We're literally serving raw chicken to people who are here to judge our food. I don't know. I think there's something wrong with the medical department, because how can you be getting that many injuries and setbacks even with players who are coming back from injuries? Something is definitely not right. Again, I hate to do this, but funny enough, we got the doctor from Arsenal, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Something isn't right at all. I've never seen this sort of scenario before, where players are just dropping like flies.
It's frustrating, especially since we've literally only just got Eriksen back, and he's an important player this season. He is. Jim Jones says, absolutely pathetic playing Ganana. God help us. I mean, that's a strong take. Jack Trout says, no norovirus has been sweeping through Carrington. Yeah, apparently Ahmad is ill. That's what I'm hearing through Twitter, but we'll get a proper update on that soon. Luca Cullen says, can only blame Casemiro's wages on the club. Shouldn't be pushed out because of it. Best CDM in the league last season. Darren Mulaney says, I think it's time for Ahmad to be given a go. Rashford and Anthony are playing way below this standard and hope backup keeper starts. I mean, he didn't start, but thank you, Darren, for your chat.
We've got the Wigan team if you wanted it as well.
Yeah, we'll get the Wigan team out in just a second. Casemiro was definitely up there last year, by the way, but Rodri's just insane, isn't he? Jedi says, question for Sam, lol, if we lose today, is Ten Hag's job at risk?
100%.
I'd say yeah. I'd say
Mate.
if we lose today, I said earlier, I don't really see how do you recover
can't
from
let him
losing to
come
Wigan.
back
We're
from
not
Wigan.
going to lose, guys, so don't even worry about it. I hope not, anyway. Akash Paul says they need to convince Casemiro to reduce his wages. Danny says, oh, we've done that one. Thank you, everybody, for your super chats. Really love the stuff that you guys are getting in. Noah said, a member for 17 months, McTominay will sack Erik ten Hag. He's consistently been very poor and hurts the team in every phase apart from the opposition box. And it even hurts Hoyland. Jim Jones says, absolutely, yeah, we've done that one. Thank you, everyone, for your super chats. Keep getting them in, please.
Could I just ask everyone quickly a question?
Yeah, go on.
If I may. Quickly rate the starting lineup and the bench today combined. What is your rating out of 10? Beth, what would you give it? Starting lineup and the bench combined?
Well,
I don't know if you can combine the
I can't
two.
combine them because...
I mean, just today's team, isn't it? Today's squad.
Starting 11, I'd probably give like a 7.
7, 8, yeah.
And then
Is
the
it?
7, yeah, because it's...
What would you change? Except possibly Ahmad.
I would probably, yeah.
You knew that we
I
knew
wanted
Bayindir
Martial
wasn't
to
going to
start
play,
as
but
well.
Martial wasn't available.
I know, yeah. He doesn't really have any choice, does he?
And then the
literally
bench,
doesn't have a choice.
you literally have to give the bench like a 4.
The 4.
But it's like, I'm happy that the academy lads and the youth players are getting an opportunity to be on the bench and hopefully get some minutes. Like, I'm really happy for them. But you've literally, if you do need to turn to it, there's not really anything there that fills you with that much hope, bar like Palestri.
Can I get... So Amrabat is injured.
He's
is
AFCON.
He's AFCON. Casemiro's injured. Eriksen is injured. We don't have anyone left. Mount is injured.
Mount's on his way back. Casemiro and Mount
Anthony out with injury.
Anthony's
Is
out.
he injured, not ill?
Rob Dawson is saying Anthony out with injury and Eriksen's ill. So.
Oh, is Eriksen ill?
Wait for Ten Hag to clarify. But,
It's not.
but yeah.
Literally, we're just scraping players together.
Absolutely dropping like flies, it feels like.
Apparently Anthony picked up a hamstring injury at Forest, but then continued to train. You have to ask why that happens, don't
Why?
you? You have to ask why.
Yeah,
Why if you've picked up a hamstring injury, just stay at home and
Listen,
come in and do
it doesn't
recovery?
make sense. Rashford had a dead leg and the manager took him to Fulham game and put him in the stand.
Yeah,
A lot of things don't make sense. It just doesn't add up. Lisandro started the season shaky, knowing he was playing with injury. Malasia's had a second surgery. Casemiro failed a fitness test, went and played 45 minutes, and then dropped injured. Something is not working. This is not normal. I'll be deadly honest. This is not normal.
One thing I'm going to say, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, is a lot of people complain about McTominay, and I know a lot of people aren't a fan. But realistically, who else do you play there tonight?
Agreed.
Like, there's no one of any experience in that squad, and people will say, Dan Gold was promising, but McTominay against this Wigan side, he can cause damage with his capabilities of finding the back of the net. And I think
It's not even in the bench, Dangle.
I think, is he not?
No.
Exactly, and I think that's where we're at in the sense of McTominay for the long term. I agree with everybody here. He's not good enough to be a starting player, absolutely not. But for this Wigan game, surely he can do a job, and I actually think he might score because we know how good he is in front of goal. I think he probably will score, but I agree with everyone. He's not good enough for the future of Man United, but for a game like this against Wigan in the FA Cup, I think he's capable of playing.
Would you have played Hannibal?
That's another name.
Hannibal's. Oh yes, sorry, Hannibal's the one I is another one you could have brought in, but he's going on loan, isn't he?
Yeah, and he hasn't played.
You don't want to injure him before his loan because then it could halter it.
Why are we not recalling Alvaro Fernandez?
Well, we let Reguilon go because we let Reguilon go back to Tottenham because we had two left backs and Dalot can play there as well. There's no need to recall him.
But Dalot shouldn't be playing there when you have Alvaro Fernandez, who's a young left back, who's won Young Player of the Season when playing in loan in Preston, who should be coming in and Ten Hag should be doing something with him. I
actually think if a player is having a really good loan spell, it can disrupt them to kind of intervene on that. I think let him have his loan spell where he is. He's doing really well. In the future, he could come in. Pardon?
He's not playing that many minutes.
He's been integrating well and he's been successful the minutes he's played.
Yeah, but how does it make sense?
He's not going to come in and play at United first.
But we need left backs. We don't have left backs. Malacia and Luke Shaw both injured. Dalot can play left back, but he's not a left back. And why would we not use Alvaro Fernandez when he had a fantastic loan spell in Preston? Why don't we learn off other clubs? Udogie had a loan spell, came to Spurs. Now the manager's starting him straight away. Look at the left back he turned out to be, and look at his age.
I like Alvaro Fernandez, and I think in the future he could be really beneficial. When there was talks about us selling him, I was against that. I want to keep him. I think when we watched him in pre-season, he looked good. But is he ready to start for Man United now? I don't think so. Well,
we wouldn't know unless the manager takes that leap. Same thing with Willy Campbell, we didn't know.
Yeah, but Ten Hag had pre-season to judge Fernandez, and he decided to send him on loan.
I just, of course he has to go and play minutes, he has to get a loan, but I think...
Sometimes players need loans.
Yeah, but we just don't, but the thing is, it's not like he's competing against three left backs. We don't have left backs.
Yeah, but you have to think, from his side, I think that if you're looking from a player side, you think, I'd rather go out on loan and play every week than sit on the bench.
Yeah, but he's not playing every week. Go and check his minutes. He's not playing every week. Alvaro Fernandez is actually not playing every week.
Yeah, but still,
that's what I mean, Faz. If he can't, is he at Granada? If he can't start for Granada, he's not going to be starting for us.
And you have to think then, where does he have more of a chance of playing? It is for them.
And he has played some minutes and he's done well in the minutes he's been playing.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same situation with Hannibal now. Hannibal is going to end up going on loan, and I think he's a player that shouldn't be going on loan.
Hannibal's more experienced and more developed than Alvaro.
And exactly, he shouldn't be going on loan.
Why shouldn't Hannibal be going on loan? Who does he start over in our midfield?
He can start over Scott McTominay. I think he's a better player than Scott McTominay.
Hannibal.
But realistically, you've got Bruno, you've got Mount, you've got Eriksen, you've got Mainoo, and the manager's decided that McTominay is, he's in front of him at the moment, whether we agree with it or not. Hannibal, he's not going to... We've got Mainoo, we've Casemiro, all the players I've named, is he realistically going to get enough game
Well,
time?
yeah,
What's more beneficial for Hannibal? Playing 20 minutes every couple of games or playing week in, week out?
Okay, I get your point, but we don't have players he's competing over. We've got injuries riddled everywhere. You've just mentioned some players who are not even in today's squad. They've not been in majority of this season's squad.
We have Faz. He plays. Hannibal literally plays as an attacking midfielder.
Right, but
you can't swap him out for McTominay.
Okay, is he competing with Mount?
Yes.
Okay, where is Mount then all season?
He's about to come back from injury.
Exactly.
He's about to come back from injury.
Exactly.
Mount's injured and he's still not getting minutes.
He's
not going to get any minutes when he comes back.
Even when Mount was available, Mount himself didn't get minutes.
So that's you're explaining your own point. How is Hannibal supposed to get minutes?
Because Hannibal is a better player and this manager is clueless.
Hannibal's a better player than Mount.
No, not over Mount, but Hannibal is a better player than Scott McTominay. Hannibal Mejbri is a better player than Scott McTominay. I'm not just going to get deluded by his goals because there were a number of games we just played where Scott McTominay didn't score.
No, I agree with you. I agree that McTominay, his shambolic performances are hidden by goals. But then when you compare him to Mount and Hannibal, obviously,
I've not even seen. None of us have seen enough of Mount in Manchester United to even say anything. Eriksen's been out majority of the season. Majority of the midfield has been out. Donny van der Beek don't even get a chance. I'm just saying, a player like Hannibal shouldn't be loaned out. I think he's got great potential in Manchester United.
But just because you're loaned out doesn't mean you're gone forever.
He's
going for 6 months on loan.
But
do you really see? We're not in Europe. We're not in the Carabao Cup. Do you really see Hannibal getting enough minutes to not warrant him going on loan?
Well, what's to say he goes on loan and doesn't get that sort of minutes? Many factors can happen.
We're never going to know.
He's not going to play ahead of Bruno. Okay, I understand your point. You'd rather him in than McTominay. So would I probably. I don't think McTominay's good enough. But then you've got Eriksen. You've got Casemiro coming back. You've got Mainoo. You've got all these players. He's not going to get the minutes.
Yeah, but I would still prefer Hannibal Mejbri even on bench than Scott McTominay, a player that we constantly wanted to sell.
Hannibal wants to play though.
He's not going to develop Hannibal.
You have to go on loan and play in order to develop.
Right.
Players themselves, I've spoken to some players before, and players themselves have said to me, I would rather go on loan, play, and then come back, manager, whoever it's going to be, can reassess me, and then we'll see. Players don't want to be sitting on holding bench.
Look, it's fair what you're saying, but I still don't want to let Hannibal. It's that simple. That's just what I'm going to say.
So you'd rather Hannibal sit on the bench and not come on?
Yeah, because he will get minutes here and there.
He hasn't had minutes in ages.
But the manager doesn't give minutes to players like that. I don't know why.
So send him on loan?
I don't know why. But we send the players on loan and now we're sat here with no left backs. Imagine how many... We had Lindelof playing left back this season.
Dallo can play left back.
Shaw and Malacia are close if we let Reguilon go back.
Dallo for me is a better left back than what Reguilon was. So
that's the quality of player he is.
Yeah, but you can say we don't have any left backs. Reguilon was a left back. I still start Dallo over him. So it's like, we've got players.
Yeah, but what happens if God forbid if Dallo drops? Okay, what do you do then?
Well, that would be worrying times.
Exactly. So you keep the players so that you have enough players who are competing for a position. We just don't have. So many players are injured. I don't understand how people can just say send a player off on loan. Like, we've got an abundance of wingers, right? So what? Send Amad Diallo on loan?
Not Amad.
Exactly, because he's a fantastic player and he can give good positive impacts. You want a big enough squad so players are actually constantly competing for the position. If Diogo Dalot drops, God forbid, today, with
it's an abnormal situation though, where Malacia's had this long-term injury and Luke Shaw's also been injured a couple of times as well. Like, that's not a normal situation. But we'll move on. But he said, good. Everyone's got different opinions. Get points across. Everyone, put what you think in the comments. We've got a lot of super chats coming in. Keel Robinson says we should have played the kids in the cup. What, and risk going out of the only competition we've got a chance of winning? No.
Agreed.
Like, we've got to go full strength. And
I think
it's
they'd
not
play
as if
better than our first team. They'd at least try and play to prove a point.
It's not as if we're playing, 3 games a week or 2 games a week like we have been doing. We're playing like once a week now. Ryan Taylor says, I can't believe we are worried about this team not beating Wigan when they struggled against my hometown club York City in the last round. Club is done. Josh Combs says, if Mainoo is playing 6, Hannibal can play next to him over Scott easily. Philip says, McTominay should play well tonight. League 1 is his level. Daniel Shabba says, how people still back this manager is beyond me. His favouritism and team selections are worse than Ollie's with terrible football. Pathetic. Daniel, what do you change in that team, looking at the bench and who's available? And We've got another super chat in from Jeremy Hawk saying, I'll be deadly honest, and that's Faz's favourite line. Cody W, member for 3 months. I don't understand why Anana is playing. It's pathetic. Paul D, we need to get this done in the first half. And United Nate says, the crash the box McTominay tactic is going to get Erik ten Hag to sack. He needs to grow a pair and do something brave. I'd rather see Hannibal get a run. Toons Lol says, only criticism I have is no buying day. He had to play. Thank you everyone for your super chats coming in. J Dot, member for 8 months, saying, after seeing this lineup, I think I might have to pick up I might have to pick up a case of beer after work to numb the pain. Go Michigan and Manchester United. Lee Jays, this bickering sounds like our dressing room. We have to win with this team. 4-0 win or nothing less. That's the thing. What changes would you make to the 11 bar? You know, I know a lot of people would rather see McTominay out of it, but apart from that, with the options we have, they're quite slim, aren't they? Is Hannibal on the bench?
Yeah.
Hannibal is on the bench, so yeah, that is an argument where he could have come in, absolutely, but we already spoke about the fact they probably won't want to risk an injury before a potential loan deal.
You know, I'll tell you what, one player that, and I hate to say this, absolutely hate to say it, but one player that needs to leave Manchester United ASAP, is Facundo Pellistri.
He's going to this month.
There is the amount of disrespect that Manchester United have done towards Facundo Pellistri, right, is unforgivable. And if I was Facu or any of his representatives or people around him, I'd be absolutely fuming with the club. They absolute 0 to negative, minutes that he gets. They just don't play him at all, And he's never had a game where he's stunk it up. He's not done amazing things, for sure, but he's never had a game where he's stunk it up. So have some faith in him as well, just like you're having faith in the Kambawala and Garnacho and all of them.
That's true. Kambawala could have started. That would have been nice to see. And, you know, Pellistri does need to leave for his own sake. I've always said I think he deserves more minutes. Ten Hag clearly just doesn't fancy him. I think he likes a left-footed right winger.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. He does, a starting player for Uruguay. He needs to go and get game time. And do you know what the wisest thing would be to do with Pellistri? Send him on loan. He'll play. It'll increase his value if we do decide to sell him. If he does super well, you can bring him back and maybe integrate him into the team. You know, you get to properly see what he's like over a consistent game basis, which you've not seen at United.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't sell Pellistri permanently, but I do agree that he does need to go on loan to develop, 100%.
Considering his age as well, he's 20 plus years old. He's 22, if I'm not mistaken.
But if he's not going to play, I'd rather that we let him leave. He can go on loan. We can see what it's like when you play Pellistri week in, week out, and then he can come back, have a pre-season, and then the manager can say, okay, look, you're in my plans or you're not in my plans. I want Pellistri to be in Ten Hag's plans, but at the moment he's not, and therefore needs to leave on loan to play.
He needs to go on loan as well for us to see what really his level is. Because we only see cameos here and there. Like when you're watching someone over a course of game in, game out, then you can really see if he'll be able to cut it top level at United, and I hope he can. I've seen a lot of potential in him. I would have liked to see more, but a loan is a good way to judge it as well. Darren Mulaney says, is Malacia and Martinez back in training? Hannibal is a lot better than Scott. We know Martinez and Casemiro are definitely back in training. I think Mount's on his way back, and Malacia I've not had an update on yet. Do we know?
It has to be close if you send Reguilon back.
Yeah, it has to be close. Kicking it with Cade, we waste Pellistri but plays Scots. Sends a bad message. Keel Robinson says, I said the League Cup, Beth. Sorry, Keel, we're not in the League Cup anymore though, so we wouldn't have been able to. I think you meant maybe in the past, potentially. But we did have Newcastle, so. Sashin Paul says, can we talk about the shambolic sales of promising Kovar and Mengi too? Erik ten Hag is an awful manager. First of all, Erik ten Hag didn't decide what fee we got for them players. Like, Mengi, I always say, the fact we sold him for 1 million is an absolute joke. That's not Ten Hag's fault. It's whoever was negotiating that deal. Mengi wasn't, he wasn't starting for us. If he wanted to go off and play first team football, he deserved to be able to do so. But get a good price for him. We can't sell our promising young talent, and it's a really bad look on the club that we get so little money for promising talent that go and play Premier League football. We've got Lee that says, hi guys, great show tonight. We are having a great display and the hipsters will be saying we are back. We're done until we get rid of these egotistical players. Workhorse, what I won't be doing, none of us will be getting carried away with this performance, will we?
No.
Workhorse says, I watched Bolton last season. How Shoretiri is still near this team is beyond me.
There's actually an interesting stat. I'm taking Faz's role. Interesting stat I saw about Shola. The last time he played for United was in Ralph Rangnick's last match in charge, and that was Palace in May 2022.
Last time, sorry?
Last time Shola played for United was in Ralph Rangnick's last match in charge at Palace in May 22.
I don't think he's got a future at United, to be honest. Ben Ellie says, just tuned in to see McTominay starting again. This persistence is really starting to turn me against Erik ten Hag. Eriksen is injured, guys.
The word is, the confirmed word from Sky is Eriksen misses tonight's game due to illness, but Anthony is out with injury.
Okay, so Anthony's injured, Eriksen is ill. Space Odie says, we talk about players' powers in this club all the time. What do we think will happen in the future with players like Anana, who never gets dropped? Ten Hag is making more chaos and player powers. John Reimer says Palestra is a natural 8. Don't agree with that. But
No.
Irakli says worrying about Hannibal transfer is not manager's job, and if they worry about injury, he shouldn't even be on the bench. Bayindir not starting in this game is criminal. A lot of people wanting Bayindir, and I can understand it. Kicking It with Cade said, I called it on the show in September, explaining why Scott can't control the midfield. It's Jan, and here we are. Mainoo, way more mature in every sense. Well, Mainoo already is a better player than McTominay. Like, that's like, I don't think anyone would argue with that.
No,
and this manager, if Casemiro comes back, he'll play Scott McTominay and Casemiro.
I hope not.
I really, 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 really want to see Mainoo and Eriksen together, but I don't think he'll do it. For some reason, the manager is in love with McTominay, and I just don't rate him.
I don't get that feeling of I want to see him with another player. I don't, because we said that about. I want to see Kobe Mainoo with Amrabat.
You don't want to see Mainoo and Casemiro?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't have faith in the manager.
But
I just don't have the faith in the manager to make anything happen.
Doesn't play on the pitch.
Yeah, but he doesn't play on the pitch, but it's his tactics being played on the pitch.
Would you play Mainoo and Eriksen together?
Mainoo and Eriksen?
No, Mainoo and Casemiro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Embridge Jones would rather see some of the younger lads come in today and show effort that has not been given by senior players this year. If the first team's available, as much as the first team's available, that's possible. Had to play today, to be honest with you. Like, it's a cup competition that we have to stay in, and we have to try and win. To be honest, anyone got the predictions of how far you think we'll get to in the FA Cup? Does anyone predict us to win it?
No.
Arsenal are out now.
No. Not for me.
No,
not for me to win.
can
But who would you want in the draw, though?
Got to go as far as possible.
Depends who we get in the
play
draw.
in the draw, by the way, if we win today.
Anyone.
Anyone
okay,
who's previously gone through.
I'd say, to that question, I'd say it depends who
I'd want the easiest
who we're going to draw
possible.
next.
I want the easiest opposition possible next.
Wrexham, Watford.
Wrexham. You don't want Wrexham.
Don't want Wrexham, but how it would be
I'd
a good
want
game,
Wrexham.
though. I'd love us to play Wrexham.
Yeah, but you don't want Wrexham. They'll,
A lot of people saying out tonight. Come on, guys, we're not going out tonight.
Positivity.
Oluskun Alibi says, I would have preferred we kept Reguilon. I love Dallo, but his best role is right back. What if Wambi gets injured, who plays the left back? I disagree, Reguilon was bad. His efforts were not appreciated, and that's unfortunate. He started off really well, Reguilon. He just kind of faded, didn't he? But let's do our players to watch quickly. I mean, one of my players to watch was Ahmad, who's not even in the squad, so that's unfortunate. He is ill as well. Norovirus is spreading around Carrington as we speak. But Sam, you had Højlund.
I had Højlund. I think tonight is an important night for Højlund. I think Rashford and Garnacho need to be feeding those balls into Højlund. I think it's an opportunity for him to kick on. It's an opportunity for him to score goals. And for me, Højlund has to score tonight. I think he will score tonight, and that's why he's my player to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely one that we should keep an eye on, and I hope he does get some goals under his belt. Especially considering, Sean Millis was on the build-up last time, predicted a Højlund hat-trick, and unfortunately the illness caught him. So hopefully Højlund can come in and score some goals tonight. Confidence. It's all about confidence and building that up, and this could be a good opportunity. We have
to go in tonight full of confidence. There can't be a single player on the pitch that is not confident. We have to go in thinking we're Manchester United. No disrespect to Wigan, but they have to think we're Manchester United. They're Wigan. We have to win. It's not a question. It's a must-win game. And I think Højlund will be thinking that to himself and thinking, I have to score tonight.
They'll be bang up for it for sure, and the fans will be as well in the Wigan ground. But your other one was Rash.
It was. My other one was Rashford. I think the reason I picked Rashford was because obviously we've seen Garnacho be picked over Rashford. So I think tonight again is kind of similar to Højlund. I think it's a good opportunity for Rashford to score. It's a good opportunity. Obviously Rashford scored for us, but we lost that game. I think it's a good opportunity for Rashford to have a go at the Wigan defence and hopefully ping those balls into Højlund. I'd love to see those two combine. And yeah,
I'm really excited to see that front three play together, to be honest. My other player to watch, I had Ahmad, but obviously he's not playing. He's not in the squad. He's ill, unfortunately, but thank God he's not injured. He's not injured. So hopefully he's back ASAP. My other one was Kobe Mainoo. Again, I just rate him really highly. Can't wait to see him on this stage, and I think he'll be able to take a few more risks maybe tonight in his passing style, and I just really rate him, so I can't wait to see him play. Faz, who would you be keeping your eye on?
Most definitely Garnacho. Yeah, most definitely. The goal that we scored against Forest, it was a keeper's mistake, but I think the energy from Garnacho was really important to win the ball and
back,
try and find Rashford as well with a good pass with his right foot. And obviously we've seen how good he is with his right and left foot. So yeah, it's definitely Garnacho.
Yeah.
Dallo as well, obviously, of course. Left back yet again. Yet again, to all of you lot who underappreciate him, every single game he's playing a position that he's not supposed to be playing. So hold that, you lot. Keep moaning and complaining about Diogo Dallo. And keep loving these other players that should have been sold. I'm glad Erik did one good thing in his life, is give Diogo Dallo a contract extension.
Did you see the interview Dallo did when he said sometimes with a manager things just click, and him and Ten Hag really click?
Yeah, well, it clearly has, because he picks him every game. At least that's one thing that's clicking.
Ten Hag said, we have a lot of injuries and illnesses, but we have a very good team. We have to win. Absolutely correct, Erik. I mean, quickly, if you're buying Deer, what are you thinking right now?
I tweeted this. I tweeted this a few days ago. I said, if I'm buying Deer and I've seen that Onana's here for Spurs, Onana's here for tonight, I'm thinking, what was the point in me coming here if I can't even get a start against Wigan? I think it should have been by India tonight, but I think if Onana would have had a good few solid performances, pre-season went well for him, by India would be in goal tonight. I think it's extremely unfair on by India that he's not in the 11 tonight. It's against Wigan. You have to play by India.
So
You'd be gutted, wouldn't you? You'd be absolutely gutted.
I'd be knocking on the door and saying, what's my role here?
Why have you bought me?
Heaton's on the bench as well.
Yeah,
do the job, Heaton, if we needed to.
And we would have said the same thing if we had an academy keeper, for example, on the bench. It could have been any other keeper. And Manchester United kept Tom Heaton as well. Don't forget, Tom Heaton had an offer from lower league, respectable team to go and play first team football, and Manchester United kept him.
Let's hope Onana has a good game. Let's just say that. Jack Glancy says, when Pellistri leaves, we will see firsthand how good he is. In a couple of years, he'll be winning trophies with Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern or City. The fuzzy one says, players get ill, but then Ten Hag never does, question mark.
What a super chat that is.
It's interesting.
What a super chat that is.
Irakli says, Pellistri is the only winger who would assist Højlund. Garnacho and especially Rashford are too selfish to help Højlund. Lee says, hi guys, sorry to say Onana got a weak mentality as a person. He should have gone and represented his country and not worry about his place at United. I think it's more the fact Ten Hag's made him stay. Like, Ten Hag said he was in talks with the Cameroon Federation, so I think Ten Hag wanted him to stay. But thank you everyone for your super chats throughout the show, really appreciate it. Quickly, in the last minute, this has flown by, this build-up show, loved it with everyone, all different opinions. Score prediction, Sam?
I think on our United stand chat, I went 4-0 United. Filled with positivity, waiting for this Højlund goal, waiting for this Rashford goal. I'm going to go 4-0 United. If that bites me in the back. If that bites me in the back.
We've never won with more than 4 goals before. I think the only ones we've done that was Chelsea. And Faz, what are you going with?
I went with 3-1 Manchester United. I think we should be able to, we should be able to score 3 goals. If we can't score 3 goals, and I hate how it comes across like, oh, it's only Wigan, but there is a clear difference in level, 100%. It's evident. We have the players, and we should be able. We have the manager. Clearly, we should be able to score 2 or 3 goals. I didn't predict a clean sheet because Andre Onana's just not been that good in cup competition this season, or else I would have gone with a clean sheet. But I think 3-1 Manchester United. If it's any other way, if Manchester United lose, Erik Ten Hag should not come back from Wigan.
Well, I am going with I'm going with a 3-0 Manchester United win. I think it'll be 3-0. I don't expect us to blow them away, but I think 3-0 will be a decent scoreline to get. Ricky texted me saying he's watching the build-up show and he's not confident we'll be able to score many goals with the way that we've been playing. But everyone, Mark is live as we speak right now. So make sure you head over and watch him. They're about to do the draw for the next round if Manchester United do get through. Faz, quickly, what should they raid with?
There's only one thing that's exciting about Wigan, and it's their pies. So go and comment pie in Mark's chat. Raid it with pies.
Or your favourite flavour of pie. What's your favourite flavour, guys?
What's your favourite flavour
of pie?
Steak pie.
Steak.
pie. Yours?
Love a little steak pie as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
Cheese and no, that's pasty, isn't it?
Do love a cheese one too.
Yeah.
Love them all.
I mean, meat and potato.
Yeah, go and read the chat. Thank you everyone for watching this build-up show with us. Catch us on the fan forum after this. We've got Ricky, we've got Kev coming along, and make sure you go and check that out later. Come on, Manchester United, and let's get through to the next round of the FA Cup.